So actually, it is based on the complication of obesity, mainly because of due to diabetes as well as cardiovascular complications. So the first is the adiposity-based chronic disease. Then it leads to another concept of dysglycemia-based chronic disease, in which insulin resistance is the main pathogenesis. And then now we move forward to cardiometabolic-based chronic disease. Because if we discuss about the cardiometabolic cardiovascular, actually it all stems from the same root of problems. So first we want to discuss about the adiposity chronic-based disease, or ABCD. So in terms of adiposity, when we discuss about adiposity or fat tissue, adipose tissue, actually there are three main aspects that we need to assess. The first one would be the amount of the adiposity. And the next one would be the distribution of the adiposity. And the third one would be the function of the adiposity. So it's not only about the amount, it's also about the distribution, also the functions. And in terms of the context, of course, obesity or adiposity chronic disease need to be looked in the context of physical build. The build of Asian versus Caucasian would be very different, for example. And also in terms of cultural, also socioeconomic aspect of obesity also would be very different. So the concept of adiposity and context will also translate into adiposity-based complication and disease states, of which we will later on discuss on the later slides. So this is what I mentioned before. Dr. Marta mentioned about the dysglycemia-based chronic disease. So actually, if we look into the end side, like Dr. Bambang mentioned about the cardiovascular, lower ejection fraction, diastolic dysfunctions, we are discussing about the end organ damage on the end side of the disease, state complications. But actually, if you want to prevent the development of those complications, we need to move forward. We know all disease have the genetic factors, of which we already discussed fantastically before in the previous sessions. And there are also aspects of environment and also behavior. And this aspect would lead to development of increased adiposity, abnormal in terms of distribution and also functions, and would lead to complications. And obesity would then also impact the development of insulin resistance. Although on small subset of patients, there are also patients that does not need to go via obesity to develop insulin resistance. But if you look into in these charts, actually insulin resistance plays a very important role on the development of cardiometabolic complications. That's why now people move forward again to cardiometabolic-based chronic disease. So the idea is that the cardiometabolic chronic disease is actually stem from the same root of problem. It has the aspect of genetics, it has the aspect of environment as well as behavior. And if you look into this chart, you can appreciate that the contribution of adiposity and insulin resistance